Demo, not for broadcast. Property of WABC New York.
If you're thinking about changing schools, why wait? At Manhattan University, love those guys. You don't have to start over. With transfer-friendly pathways, your credits count, and you keep moving forward. From day one, you're part of Jasper Nation, preparing for the real world. And with New York City just a train away, opportunity is everywhere. Ready to move forward without missing a step? Visit manhattan.edu/transfer and enroll today. Manhattan University. Don't start over. Move forward.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Tuesday, January 13th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sunshine today. The high going to be 46. Tonight and overnight, the clouds roll in, low 41. And then Wednesday, clouds. Chance of a shower, high 49. If you're walking out the door with us right now, it is 31 and clear in Tarrytown up in Westchester County. It's 30 and clear in Harrison over in New Jersey. And it's 31 and clear right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
Thousands of city nurses will spend day 2 on the picket line. A city council worker is grabbed by ICE agents. Another runaway horse tore through Midtown. A special ed teacher in New Jersey is accused of torturing her students. One Long Island driver's ed instructor has a lot of explaining to do. All right, let's get into it at 5:01. More than 15,000 nurses are on day 2 of a strike at 5 hospitals across the city. Nurses calling for better wages and health benefits, along with protections from workplace violence, saying it's a long way from when they were applauded during the coronavirus.
I get emotional about it because I wonder if they really thought of us as heroes or they were just going with the community.
In fact, I have a sign in my bag, and it says we are no longer professionals or heroes. They now consider us zeros.
Now, nurses say they're willing to get back to the table, negotiate in good faith, calling out hospitals for spending millions of dollars bringing in alternative care rather than meeting their demands. Here's New York Attorney General Letitia James.
If these hospitals have money to hire scabs, then they've got money and resources to address the needs of these nurses.
Yeah, these nurses got a lot of high-profile appearances on the picket line yesterday, including Mayor Mamdani, who says hospital CEOs make millions while some nurses struggle to make ends meet.
They are not asking for a multi-million-dollar salary. What they are asking for is for their pensions to be safeguarded, to be protected in their own workplace, to receive the pay and the health benefits that they deserve.
Now, nurses say they had to make this tough decision to leave patients behind.
It's very heartbreaking to walk away knowing that we're trying our best for them.
I have nurses that were in tears coming out. We had to support them, hug them, let them know that it's not their fault.
Now, what we're being told, Mount Sinai told us that 20% of unionized nurses stayed on the job yesterday. And we were hearing from some of these strike areas that not as many people showed up to walk the picket lines as they had anticipated. So here we are, day 2. We haven't heard any word of negotiations between the sides, the hospitals and the nurses. The hospitals say the nurses are asking for an unrealistic salary and that they need to come back and negotiate so they can get everybody back to work. 5:03. New York lawmakers, including Mayor Mamdani, reacting after a city council employee was detained by federal immigration officials on Long Island yesterday. The employee detained by ICE New York City during an appointment in Bethpage in Nassau County. City Council Speaker Julie Menon speaking out against this or about this yesterday.
Despite every indication that he was doing everything the right way, he still found himself a victim of egregious government overreach. Our office will continue to monitor this situation closely and ensure that he and his loved ones get the support that they need.
Now, the city council learned of the detainment when the employee used the one phone call he had to contact the city council's human resources department for help, and that's how everybody else found out. Menon says the city council is demanding the return of that worker, the staff member who works as a data analyst for approximately a year now, but the Department of Homeland Security responding in a statement saying that that worker had no work authorization, is a criminal illegal alien from Venezuela, and an employee of New York City Council that has a criminal history that includes an arrest for assault. The employee has been transferred to a detention center on Varick Street in Manhattan. WABC News Time 504. The moving van found its way from Queens to Manhattan for the mayor.
Where we're moving on now to the East Side.
New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani says he and his wife moved into Gracie Mansion Monday night. Mamdani announced that he plans to open the $1,799 mansion up more frequently to regular New Yorkers.
That's going to be one of the focuses as we move into this home, is how to make it more than a place that you can only visit on a particular event.
The new mayor says he'll get an allergy shot so the family can have a cat. He also revealed that he hasn't yet encountered any ghosts. I'm Lisa Ritchie, 77 WABC News.
A New York federal judge reversing course now over Luigi Mangioni's backpack.
At first, Judge Margaret Garnett said a hearing was unnecessary over whether what Pennsylvania police say they found inside a backpack should be allowed at trial. Authorities say the alleged healthcare CEO killer's backpack contained a gun, a silencer or suppressor, and a so-called manifesto. The judge has done an about-face here, saying there should be a brief evidentiary hearing because of the seriousness of the charges that Mangioni's facing. He's accused of stalking and killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Midtown Manhattan outside the Hilton Hotel in December of 2024. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
Let's head up to the Bronx, where a section of wall of a 4-story vacant structure just collapsed yesterday. About 200-foot section of a wall from this one-story building. It had 2 commercial units on East Burnside Avenue in Morris Heights, collapsed on scaffolding, then crashed onto the street. There were some people nearby. Thank God nobody was hurt.
Today, I guess they were doing work on the backside of the building there, and it just all of a sudden fell into the street, like the whole side of the building. It looks like it's going to keep falling, too. I heard a really loud crashing noise. I turn around and I see the whole side of the building basically just fall down. Smoke everywhere, like dust, all the way to Crescent, all the way to Burnside. I mean, you could see dust all over the place.
Yeah, the site, which is undergoing a full demolition under an active Department of Building permit, saw debris extend about 15 feet onto the sidewalk and then onto Walton Avenue. The collapse also partially affected the sidewalk shed that was covering the area. The DOB was at the site yesterday investigating. 507, let's go down to New Jersey, where Atlantic City is now a Governor Murphy signature away from its finances staying under state control for another 6 years.
State lawmakers passed a bill on to the governor Monday that would extend the state's control over Atlantic City's finances by 6 more years. Now, Murphy has said the partnership with AC should continue, and if he signs off to allow that partnership to carry on, it would be okay with current Democratic Atlantic City Mayor Marty Small. He supports it, but former Republican Mayor Don Guardian does not, and he testified against it during an assembly hearing, arguing the state is on the verge of resembling America during the Vietnam War, without an exit strategy, in this case, on setting AC up to do well on its own. I'm Levon Putney.
WABC News Time 509. Let's go down to Washington, where the Supreme Court will wade into landmark cases involving transgender athlete bans. Today, the justices will hear 2 cases, one that's out of Idaho, the other from West Virginia, challenging whether the state can ban transgender girls from participating in girls' and women's sports.
And it's not anti-anyone. It is pro-women. women. It is pro-fairness. It is pro-safety. And this is not about politics today.
That's Utah Attorney General Derek Brown. He's one of several Republican attorney generals in D.C. to support the two states and protect the ban. The decisions on those cases will impact similar bans that are already enacted in about half of the country right now.
In spite of the many issues on which they disagree, I found that this is one issue on which they agree, the issue of ensuring fairness and a level playing field for our girls when it comes to sports.
The issue has sparked national debate. It was a key issue of President Trump's 2024 campaign. He vehemently opposes to transgender athletes competing on female teams. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says the Justice Department has served the Fed with grand jury subpoenas and is threatening a criminal indictment. Correspondent Tony Waterman has more.
The Justice Department is investigating whether Powell lied to Congress about the scope and cost of renovations, which have ballooned to $2.5 billion.
Powell characterized the subpoenas as a threat and the latest attempt to influence the Fed in its interest rate decisions. Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren, she was defending Powell, says it's all part of President Trump's agenda.
This is a question about weaponizing the Department of Justice right out in plain view in order for Donald Trump to try to have a chance to take over the Fed.
White House would push back against that. President Trump has repeatedly criticized Powell for the Fed for not cutting interest rates as much and as quickly as the president has wanted since he began his second term. You'll remember it was the president that appointed Powell during his first term. 511, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly is suing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth over punishment for that video where he told service members to refuse illegal orders. Kelly addressed the situation on the Senate floor yesterday.
That's why today I filed a lawsuit against the Secretary of Defense to protect my rights, the rights of retired veterans, and the rights of all Americans.
Now, the Secretary of War, Hegseth, called the video seditious, said the Department of War initiated retirement grade determination proceedings that would result in that loss of pay. Kelly argues Hegseth's actions violate numerous constitutional guarantees and have no basis.
I swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I have upheld that oath every single day since. If Pete Hegseth succeeds in silencing me, then he and every other Secretary of Defense who comes after him will have license to punish any retired veteran of any political persuasion for the things that they say.
WABC News Time 512. Cuba taking action now in response to President Trump's weekend post promising with no more Venezuelan oil or money that the island nation of Cuba should make a deal with the U.S. before it's too late.
Cuba declared today a date of national defense. Even schools and university classes have been canceled so they can start training for a possible invasion by the United States.
That's Cuban expert Dr. Andy Gomez thinks some in the Cuban inner circle may be willing to talk to the U.S., but hardliners like Raul Castro are not ready to do that, at least according to Gomez.
I do think there's breaks within the Cuban inner circle about talking to the United States and others that do not. I do believe the hardliners like Raul Castro and others don't want to do it.
But, of course, they've seen what just happened in Venezuela.
It would not surprise me that we can see again in Cuba massive protests. However, the case of Cuba versus the case of Venezuela or even Iran, but let's just say Cuba and Venezuela are very different.
513 Democratic leaders in Minnesota announcing a lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security. A lawsuit is over the surge of additional ICE agents to Minneapolis following the deadly shooting last week involving an ICE agent.
We asked the courts to end the DHS unlawful behavior in our state. The intimidation, the threats, the violence.
That's the state attorney general Keith Ellison says the agents are are untrained. This is his claim, making illegal arrests, causing chaos, and targeting people based on the color of their skin.
And we ask that the courts will end the surge of thousands of DHS agents into Minnesota.
Minneapolis Democratic Mayor Jacob Fry claims DHS is sending in more agents to intimidate people in a city.
The stated reason of this federal government for bringing in this full invasion of ICE and border control is not safety.
But Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem insists the agents are taking dangerous criminals off the street. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says she doesn't understand the protests because ICE is protecting them against violent criminals.
They are actively trying to impede law enforcement operations and end the President Trump's mandate to deport illegal alien criminals.
Yeah, the protests have been ongoing since the deadly ICE shooting in Minneapolis last week. 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Ellick.
Good morning to you, Noam Layden. Start with the end of wildcard weekend last night. I think your last installment of Monday Night Football. Yeah, the Texans beating the Steelers 30-6 in the AFC, so Houston moves on to face the 2-seed New England Patriots in the divisional round. Could be the last we've seen of Aaron Rodgers in an NFL uniform. And I don't know, I think for the most part here in New York we're saying sayonara. No, Noam Layden?
I think they would. Nobody's too upset.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so the Steelers, they fall to the Texans. That great Houston defense. They move on to the ice at the Garden. The Rangers got doubled up on by the Kraken. Final score 4-2. Zibanejad and Carrick scored for the Rangers, and Jonathan Quick finished with 25 saves. New York lost for the 7th time in 8 games and fell to 5-12-4 at Madison Square Garden this season. Up next for the Rangers, they'll host Ottawa tomorrow night to finish a 2-game homestand. In Minnesota, Jesper Bratt and Andre Palatz each scored twice, and the Devils beat the Wild 5-2 to snap a 4-game skid. Dawson Mercer had a goal and an assist for New Jersey, and Nico Hischier and Dougie Hamilton each had 2 assists. Jacob Markstrom finished with 20 saves. Up next for the Devils, they'll host the aforementioned Seattle Kraken tomorrow night. Tonight, the Islanders, they're back in action out in Winnipeg against the Jets. That is an 8 p.m. puck drop there. Head to the hardwood in Dallas, where the Nets lost 113-105 to the Mavericks. Michael Porter Jr. scored 28 points, and Daron Sharp had 14 points and 12 rebounds off the bench for the Nets, who have lost 4 consecutive games. Brooklyn cut a 14-point second-half deficit to 99-95 with 5 minutes left, but couldn't get any closer. Porter returned after sitting out Sunday's game, while Brooklyn's Cam Thomas and Igor Demon were held out yesterday after playing a Sunday. Up next for the Nets, they'll play at New Orleans tomorrow night. That is your sports, Noam, and I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:18. Let's go out to California, where Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley talking about all this fraud that was found in Minnesota and wondering if the same thing is happening in his state, commenting on a new report that details the status of more than $100 million in Los Angeles wildfire relief funding, and he wants to know where all that money's gone.
The report that the Judiciary Committee has issued details some examples of questionable uses of those funds, going to podcasters, going to political advocacy type groups, voter outreach type groups.
Kiley requesting the report from the House Judiciary Committee amid controversy about where the money raised during a benefit concert last year had actually gone. He calls the report transparent, says he's posted a document on his website which lists all the agencies that have received grants so far.
Hopefully the lessons learned here will inform the disbursement of the remaining fire aid funds and future charitable efforts when it comes to disaster relief. It's important to make sure that the funding goes and gets to the victims, to the people who need it, and in a way that enables the rebuilding process to go forward at, frankly, a faster pace than we've seen.
Yeah, Kiley says after more than a year, rebuilding's just not happening fast enough in California from those wildfires. While we're in California, State Senator Scott Weiner, who's running to replace Nancy Pelosi in San Francisco, changing course after he got heckled during a candidate forum last week. He is, for the first time, referring to Israel's war in Gaza as genocide.
The Israeli government has tried to destroy Gaza and to push Palestinians out, and that qualifies as genocide.
Now, the Jewish lawmaker until now had refused to use the word because of its connection to the Holocaust, but after that debate, where it did not go very well, he changed course and he described his nuanced position.
We all have eyes, and we see the absolute devastation.
Yeah, I'm guessing that will grab him in a place like San Francisco more votes. 5:20, President Trump will be in Detroit today to show how he says he's making America affordable again.
So with a little bit of patience, the American people are going to continue to see that the best is yet to come.
That's White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, who says the president will kick off his visit at a Ford factory that's producing more F-150 trucks because of the president's tariffs.
President Trump has a proven economic formula that works. He delivered on it in his first term. He's delivering on it now. We have mortgage rates that are falling under 6% for the first time in years. Today, the national average of gasoline is the lowest that it's been in 5 years.
The president will deliver a speech at the Detroit Economic Club where he'll talk about his economic successes that include lower mortgage rates and falling gas prices. Down to Texas at 5:21, the trial of a former Texas police officer accused of botching the response to the 2022 Uvalde school shooting back underway. Much of the testimony yesterday focused on the cop's tactical movements when the gunman was barricaded inside a classroom.
In an active shooting situation, is time of the essence.
Absolutely.
Now, both sides grilled Texas Ranger Terry Schneider, who was involved in the investigation after 19 students, 2 teachers were murdered. Former officer Adrian Gonzalez pled not guilty to 29 counts of child abandonment or endangerment. Bill Turner, the special prosecutor appointed in the case, grilled the Texas Ranger Terry Schneider about the active shooter response training they had.
The longer the time in an active shooting, the more victims you can have.
Yeah, and they talked about storming the classroom, why it did not happen sooner.
When an officer hears shooting but can't see shooting, what does the officer do?
Runs to the shooting.
Yeah, we'll hear more in this case. Another day will happen this morning starting at 9 o'clock. Homeland Security, while we're down in Texas, beefing up the so-called floating border wall in South Texas by adding 500 more miles of buoys in the Rio Grande. Experts say it's proven to be a way to discourage illegal immigration across the swift-moving river. Lots of people have died trying to get across that river.
Smuggling organizations, they don't care about human life. They'll tell people, hey, you can cross here, it's not a big deal.
That's Art Del Cueto, who's with the Federation of American Immigration Reform. The water barrier is part of a push to create a smart wall on the southern border. There's also plans for more fencing, cameras, and detection technology. It's all funded by President Trump's big, beautiful bill. One more story out of Texas. Okay, today is the 30th anniversary of the kidnapping of a 9-year-old Texas girl that led to the development of the nationwide Amber Alert system.
Amber Hagerman was abducted while riding bikes with her brother in 1996, and her body was found 4 days later. Her murder remains unsolved. Knowing that when a child is abducted, a quick response is a critical factor in finding them, Dallas-Fort Worth area broadcasters teamed up with local police to set up alerts that would be broadcast by way of the emergency alert system. President George W. Bush signed the Amber Alert into law nationally in 2003. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
A best-selling author who made a career out of suggesting that humanity's development was achieved thanks to the help of Martians died over the weekend at the age of 90.
Swiss author Erich von Däniken sold millions of copies of Chariots of the Gods, a book that questioned whether aliens made contact with ancient civilizations like the Incas and Egyptians. While most academics dismissed von Däniken's theories, he wrote more than 40 books and put out several TV specials and documentary films over the course of his career. He was also well known for his many appearances on the History Channel show Ancient Aliens, dating all the way back to its pilot episode. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Yeah, I remember him. 524, Macy's is closing over a dozen stores across the country. The department store chain announcing that it would be closing 14 stores in the U.S. States affected include New Jersey, New York, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Washington. Researchers report that U.S. preterm birth rates rose in the last decade.
The team of researchers from Massachusetts found that preterm births were mainly prevalent in households earning less less than 200% of the federal poverty level. Black mothers had the highest preterm birth rates across all income tiers. Preterm birth is defined as delivery before 37 weeks. It's the leading cause of infant mortality and morbidity in the U.S. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
WABC News Time 525. 3 Long Island driver's ed students learned more than just to brake when they were taking driving lessons.
A Central Islip defensive driving school teacher's out of a job after allegedly showing pornography to students. 75-year-old Mitchell Lerner is charged with 3 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor.
After a driving lesson, went to a parking lot and showed these 3 kids a very inappropriate video of 2 adults engaging in a sexual act.
Suffolk County Police Commissioner Kevin Catalina says Lerner showed the porn to the kids on December 22nd as a reward for driving well. I'm Lisa Ritchie for 77 WABC News.
Yeah, sounds like a real genius. The Clintons could face contempt of Congress if they don't show up for a House committee hearing in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation.
Former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton were originally ordered to appear before the GOP-led committee in December, but asked that the date get pushed back to January 13th. Now, a committee spokesperson says neither has confirmed they will appear, and Congressman James Comer, the chairman of the panel, says he'll slap them with contempt if they don't show. Bill Clinton has been featured in several Epstein photos, but has maintained he did nothing wrong during his associations with the deceased sex trafficker. I'm Mark Mayfield.
WABC News Time 526. David Bowie's childhood home will soon open to the public. The Heritage of London Trust recently acquired the Southeast London house where the singer lived between the ages of 8 and 20 years old. The home, located in the town of Bromley, will be restored back to its original early 1960s appearance and set to open to the public in 2027. And while we're talking David Bowie, that song, Heroes, is seeing a surge in streaming after its placement in the finale of Netflix Stranger Things. Same thing happened to Prince songs. On the day of the finale and over the following days, the song had 1.4 million official demands on streams in the U.S. It marked a 143% increase compared to the prior period a year earlier. That Stranger Things thing was, just such a smash that anything connected to it continues to do well, including old songs from David Bowie and from Prince.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour. Talking the news with Noam Laden. All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now, Talking the News with Noam on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Tuesday, January 13th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sunshine today, high 46. Tonight and overnight, the clouds roll in, low 41, and then Wednesday, clouds, chance of a shower, the high 49. If you are walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are. 31 and clear in Tarrytown up in Westchester. It's 30 and clear in Harrison over in New Jersey, and it's 31 and clear right outside our Midtown studios. There are new calls to pass a law to ban horse carriages here in the city after a runaway carriage horse crashed into several vehicles in Midtown Manhattan. Now, so this was last week, and so I'm not clear why we're only finding out about this now, but the video shows this startled horse running out of Central Park and into traffic on 6th Avenue in Midtown. 4 or 5 vehicles were hit by the carriage. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. Nobody was in those cars. They were, I think, mostly parked cars. Here was an eyewitness.
People were horrified. They're absolutely horrified, and everybody's scrambling to get out of the way, hoping that they're in no way going to be caught up in all of this.
Now, the union that represents horse carriage drivers, TWU Local 100, says what happened falls short of their standards for people taking care of the horse. But they say the driver was standing near the horse when the animal was startled by a delivery vehicle. Officials say the union is now evaluating what internal actions will be taken regarding the driver. But they say the horse is doing okay.
She was seen by her her vet. She was fully examined. The health department was notified right away that this has happened. I do know that one of the things is that had she been tied to a hitching post, this would not have happened. We've been asking the city for almost 20 years now.
Now, whenever this happens, of course, the animal rights activists come out and they point to this history of just a lot of similar incidents where horses get away or things happen to horses in the heat. In this case, it was the horse running into cars.
Just a week into 2026, and there's another violent horse carriage crash that easily could have killed pedestrians and drivers. We want to work with the new speaker, Julie Menin, and the city council to pass rider's law. Let's phase this out like almost every other large city in the world has already done.
Now, rider's law would phase out licenses for horse-drawn carriages and then get rid of them completely. They've tried to pass this a few times, but it's always stalled in the city council. And it is interesting when you talk to tourists who are here in the city, a lot of them say that's one of the reasons I'm coming is I want to take a horse and carriage ride.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's just part of it, I would think. I mean, yeah. And I would think everybody would miss that.
Yeah. So not everybody's against it. 542. It is day 2 of the New York City nurses strike. 15,000 nurses are going to walk the picket line again this morning after no agreement was reached ahead of a deadline for contract negotiations. It's the largest nurses strike in the city's history. The hospital locations impacted include Mount Sinai Hospital, Mount Sinai Morningside, Montefiore Hospital, and New York Presbyterian.
I am prepared to be here as long as possible.
We sacrifice our mental, emotional, and physical health for our patients and our families.
Now, the hospitals say they have brought in qualified and specialized nurses. In a lot of cases, they bring in these traveling nurses to take the spots of the nurses who are on strike. The New York State Nurses Association contract, it expired on December 31st. The union wants higher pay, an increase in staff to manage patients, fully funded benefits, and better workplace protections against violence for its members. Now, the nurses, they got some big-time support yesterday from Mayor Mamdani, who joined them on the picket line.
They show up, and all they are asking for in return is dignity, respect, and the fair pay and treatment that they deserve.
Now, the mayor said the city's working to protect both patients and healthcare workers during the strike. He urged hospital executives, union leaders to return to the bargaining table right away. Now, the last time the nurses walked off the job, that was 2023, and they were out for 3 days. Regardless of how long this thing, it's very stressful for these hospitals, of course, very stressful for the nurses who are not getting pay. So Mount Sinai says that yesterday, 20% of the unionized nurses that work with them did come to work. So the rest of them, they filled in with visiting nurses and other personnel at the hospital. But here we are, day 2 of that strike. 544, over to New Jersey. The trial underway for a man accused of murdering his brother and his brother's entire family inside their home in Colts Neck, New Jersey, and then setting the home on fire. You might remember this story from 2018. Prosecutors say it all comes down to money as part of an insurance fraud scheme. But attorneys for the defendant, Paul Canero, suggests there's another suspect in the 2018 murders who police never questioned. They say it's his brother who was worse off financially than him. The defense suggests that police never focused on another potential suspect, Paul and Keith's older brother, Corey, who was not in the courtroom yesterday for opening statements in a trial that's going to be closely watched.
Paul Canero did not do this. He did not commit these crimes. He did not hurt anyone. He did not harm anyone. He did not set any house on fire. Paul's financial situation was a house of cards. But what you also hear during this trial is that Corey Canero's financial situation was even worse.
All right, so that's the opening statement from the defense. The murders of Keith Canero and his family were shocking. The motives, they say, was money. 2 kids were killed. The parents were killed. Opening statements gave the jury this roadmap of the allegations made against the victim's brother, Paul Canero, who's accused of this quadruple murder and then setting his brother's home in Colts Neck on fire. He also set his own home on fire to make it look like he was a victim as well.
He armed himself with a loaded handgun. He wore black nitro gloves on his hands, and he snuck up on the family while they slept. One person, and one person only, committed these crimes. One person who had the means, the motive, and the opportunity. And that person is sitting right here today.
Yeah, so prosecutors allege this was all a dispute over money. The brothers had two businesses together, but things fractured over an insurance policy that was worth $3 million. In a moment, we'll head out to Long Island and tell you about a driving school teacher that was doing stuff that just wasn't right. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, 546, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's Justin Ella.
Thank you, Noam Layden. Start with a quick recap of last night's Monday Night Football installment of the NFC Wild Card round. Texans beat the Steelers 30-6, so Houston moves on to face the 2-seeded New England Patriots in the divisional round. On the ice at the Garden, the Rangers got doubled up on by the Kraken. The final score 4-2. Zibanejad and Carrick scored for the Rangers, and Jonathan Quick finished at 25 saves. New York lost for the 7th time in 8 games and fell to 5-12-4 at Madison Square Garden this season. Up next for the Rangers, they'll host Ottawa tomorrow night to finish a 2-game homestand in Minnesota. Jesper Bratt and Andre Palat each scored twice, and the Devils beat the Wild 5-2 to snap a 4-game skid. Dawson Mercer had a goal and an assist for Jersey, and Nico Hischier and Dougie Hamilton each had 2 assists. Jacob Markstrom finished with 20 saves. Up next for the Devils, they'll host the aforementioned Kraken tomorrow night. Tonight, 8 p.m. puck drop for the Islanders, who are back in action up in Winnipeg against the Jets. And on the hardwood in Dallas, the Nets lost 113-105 to the Mavericks. Up next for them, they'll play at New Orleans tomorrow night. That's your Sports Noam, and I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
549. Let's go out to Long Island, where a driving teacher out of a job after allegedly showing pornography to a student. This guy sounds like a really smart individual. 75-year-old Mitchell Lerner, who taught at Defensive Driving School in Central Islip, is charged with 3 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor.
After a driving lesson, went to a parking lot and, showed these 3 kids a very inappropriate video of 2 adults engaging in a sexual act.
What a weird and creepy thing to do. Suffolk County Police Commissioner Kevin Catalina says Lerner showed the porn to kids on December 22nd as a reward for driving well. Well, Barry Becker, he's the owner of the driving school. He was stunned, saying Lerner worked for him for 4 years, was well liked. Becker has fired Lerner. Police believe there could be other victims out there, asking people to contact them if they have any information. Barry Becker owns this school.
Our main goal is to teach kids how to survive.
Yeah, well, of course. 550. Mayor Mamdani and his wife, they moved into Gracie Mansion last night. Mamdani announced that he plans to open Gracie Mansion up more frequently to regular, everyday New Yorkers.
That's going to be one of the focuses as we move into this home, is how to make it more than a place that you can only visit on a particular event.
The mayor also revealed he has not encountered any ghosts, as past people living in Gracie Mansion have. The mansion comes from 1799. As for the menu, New York's first Muslim mayor says there will be no pork on the menu. He also says he's in the midst of getting allergy shots in preparation for welcoming a cat as a member of the family. Apparently, his wife loves cats, so he's going to get these shots.
I can commit to you that this will be a place that New Yorkers will be able to see themselves, not just on TV.
And now, as part of this press conference yesterday, he also was talking about attracting more TV and film production to New York City.
Let our success be felt when the most talented, driven artists in the world want to shoot their projects on our streets.
So the mayor named Rafael Espinal as the commissioner of the mayor's office and media entertainment.
So together, let us usher in a golden age of New York expression, one that all of us can enjoy and afford, whether by watching it or by creating it.
Now, it is, fun to see these guys out on the street shooting movies, but of course, if you try to park your car, that's not a lot of fun. 551 out to New Jersey, where a mother is speaking out after her special needs child was allegedly given hot sauce as discipline by his teacher. This is a really sick story, if it is true. Patterson Public Schools confirming that they let a teacher go. CBS News sat down with the mother, who wants to raise awareness for other parents. The allegations are against a teacher at Dale Avenue School. And this mom, who says her son was in one of these classes, has two sons with autism, one who is nonverbal. So the idea that that son was given hot sauce and then, of course, can't communicate to this mom has her outraged.
I feel like I got to talk for him and I got to be here for him. And that's why I'm stepping up and I'm just getting this out here. How could you even think of doing something like that to a kid?
Yes, so here's the crazy part. I mean, not that that's not crazy enough. She was alerted to this in a Facebook post that was claiming a teacher at the school is putting hot sauce in the students' mouths as punishment for the behavior. Now, they're doing this to special ed autistic students. I mean, you can't smack around this person hard enough. And it was a substitute that came forward. She had heard these allegations and she had told the school about it, but she didn't think the school was acting fast enough, so she posted it on Facebook. Here's that teacher.
She was in the bathroom taking another child to the bathroom, washing their hands. Then she just hears a crazy yelling, "Ow!" She said, and he ran into the bathroom and started rinsing his mouth out. She said she saw the teacher put the hot sauce in the other children's mouths.
It's really outrageous. So this mom, who says she was told initially that her son was one of the victims, was told that he wasn't. Now she's just not sure because he can't communicate what happened. But either way, she says the school needs to do something more than just fire this teacher.
More needs to be done than you just firing this person. They need to be held accountable. They need to be in jail. Like, it's so many things I could think of, like hot sauce.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. 5:54. While we're in New Jersey, work continues on a mega production studio and complex in Monmouth County. Governor Murphy happily passing the baton to incoming Governor Mikey Sherrill while they visited the Netflix site to mark progress that's being made there.
And I know she is as pumped about this industry and about Netflix as we have been.
Netflix purchased the old Fort Monmouth property in Oceanport and Eatontown, broke ground on it back in May. Netflix is building 12 sound stages, production buildings, a theater, hotel on the site, which is expected to bring in a huge amount of tax revenue and create thousands of jobs.
As your next governor, I am going to support that progress. I am so excited. It's nice to sort of draft on some of what has been built here so that we can continue to achieve great success in New Jersey.
Well, we go from Monmouth County over to New Brunswick, where a national fraternity based in Indiana is suing Rutgers University frat members over a hazing incident that caused serious bodily injury.
At first, Judge Margaret Garnett said a hearing was unnecessary over whether what Pennsylvania police say they found inside a backpack should be allowed at trial. Authorities say the alleged healthcare CEO killer's backpack contained a gun, a silencer or suppressor, and a so-called manifesto. The judge has done an about-face here, saying there should be a brief evidentiary hearing because of the seriousness of the charges that Mangione's facing. He's accused of stalking and killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Midtown Manhattan outside the Hilton Hotel in December of 2024. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
WABC News Time 5:55. Let's head out to Long Island, where Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman sworn in last night at the cradle of aviation, beginning a new term while also running for governor. He told News 12 he can balance both running for Nassau County while campaigning statewide.
I'm a worker. I work 24/7. So even if I'm not physically present in the county, I always have my cell phone on. People can text me. They can call me. They can email me, and I am on top of everything.
Neighbors sharing mixed reaction about Blakeman holding on to his current position while pursuing higher office. Others wishing him well.
I wish him luck. He's going to need it in New York State, unfortunately, because he has to become better known around the state. But hopefully he'll make it.
And a former defensive back for the Giants is missing and has been apparently for months now.
The sister of Sam Beal posted on Facebook Monday that they've not seen or heard from him since July. A missing persons report says the 29-year-old spoke to his girlfriend as he was returning from Virginia Beach. His shoes and socks were found in her car there. Beal, who went to Western Michigan, was drafted by the Giants and played cornerback for them from 2018 to 2021. He pleaded guilty to gun charges in 2020. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and busts. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.